it's fantastic to have you on the stream today. As you know, I just randomly reached out to you and was like, "Hey, would you like to do a live stream?" And
right, yeah,
and here we are. This is great.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while, so I'm really glad that we finally got it going, man. Yeah, dude, absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about what it is that you're doing with your live streams. So I'm kind of interested. So you go on live streams, and then I guess you interact with the chat, and people ask you to do like songs, or what are you doing over there?
Well, I normally go live on TikTok just because I really like TikTok's live stream feature.
Okay.
And we just play, I just play acoustic stuff. It's just me playing with acoustic guitar. It's normally like 90s and 2000s shit, which is, that's like my content, like what I do. And I just play songs and hang out and talk. And, if someone wants an original, I play one of those. Normally it's just me playing covers acoustic and hanging out, chatting, it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Well, that's really cool. Yeah. TikTok, specifically is a good platform for music artists, that are looking to, I guess, like in a way you can monetize a fan base on TikTok a lot easier. Possibly. I mean, you tell me. So is TikTok, you're on TikTok. Is there any reason why you wouldn't do it on Instagram, for example?
So the reason why I do live streams on TikTok is because on TikTok, the interaction between the person doing the stream and the comment section is a lot more robust, because there's they can give gifts. They can, which is kind of a thing on Instagram. They're kind of trying to implement that, but on TikTok, it's just like a normal thing you can do, no matter who you are. If you can go live, the people that follow you can give you gifts, which is, it translates into money. And then on TikTok, random people can discover your live stream just from the For You page, which isn't really a thing on Instagram.
Right.
I mean, I've had tons of people that have followed me on TikTok from my live stream, because they joined my live stream and they're like, "Oh, cool, let's see what else he's done," and they go and check out my videos, and they follow me that way. And on Instagram, it's like it only goes to the people that follow you. So that's kind of why I normally do TikTok. I don't really pay attention to TikTok much anymore, as far as content like uploads. I'm mainly focused on YouTube and here on Instagram, but I really like TikTok's live stream feature. So that's really the only reason why.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, the reason I bring it up is because primarily what I like to do with live streaming when I'm streaming with other people is it's always pertaining to the music business or the music industry in some way or another. So talking to another artist like yourself, who is, of course, we'll get into it in a moment, who's definitely smashing it right now and causing a buzz. It's really interesting for of course, yeah, it's really interesting for myself and for people that are watching these live streams to know, because a lot of people that watch these, they're not only fans of music, but a lot of people are also musicians themselves. And we always love to give each other tips or ideas, or, what's working and what's not. And when you say the TikTok platform, you're exactly right, because, for example, right now, people that might be watching this live stream are most likely people that are following me or following you, and that's pretty much it. And that was a good point that you brought up, that people can discover you if they don't even follow you on TikTok, because you're on a live stream.
Exactly.
So that's really cool, actually. I have to check that out.
It is, yeah. And like, I have my problems with TikTok. I have a lot of gripes with TikTok. Like, we could go all night about that. Like, there are problems with TikTok that I really wish they would implement, like, some sort of fix for. But the live stream feature in itself is really good. I wish that, I think other apps should definitely take note of it. But at the same time, TikTok should take note of things that other apps are doing in other departments that aren't the live stream. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of just the trade-off, that's just kind of how it goes with doing stuff on different platforms.
True that. True that. So, well, let's talk about your YouTube for a second, because on my Instagram feed, like a few months ago, there was a few videos that people were throwing around where you were doing songs, and it caught my attention. So that's initially why I wanted to reach out to you. So could you? I mean, I don't want you to start from I was born in this year or blah blah blah, but could you like kind of get into like how is it that you got started into the music into your music career quickly, and then maybe expand into like what it is that you've been doing on YouTube?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Your background just fell down.
I know. I
Heard that.
tried to like nonchalantly like make it seem like it didn't, but it totally.
I love the determination that you just fucking push through it, bro. It's perfect.
We're alive.
Yeah.
We're alive. We got everything. Anything and everything happens, and that's exactly why I love playing live concerts, because the same thing, except maybe a million times worse, could certainly happen, and it always does happen.
Oh, right. Yeah, totally. No, I mean, and like before I was doing, social media, like I was playing in bands, no matter what the fuck happens, you keep playing something, so that there's not dead air,
Of course.
Yeah, but I mean, like I grew up in a very musical family.
Okay.
My mom is a singer, and both of her sisters were singers, and it was just kind of something that I always was around growing up, and I played in bands, like I said, through high school, and
okay.
when I was when COVID happened, I kind of everything kind of shut down. And I mean, I'm skipping a lot, but just like to keep it
of course
simple,
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Yeah. when the COVID stuff happened, like everything shut down, and my only way to do stuff musically was online. So I just kind of put everything that I had into the online stuff, and just worked really hard at the online stuff. And as soon as I got a little bit of recognition for it, it just really pushed me to just keep going, and it kind of got me to what we're doing now. And I talked about it in a video I just did on YouTube, but I started doing the cover stuff, like the fantasy cover stuff, because the Ohms album from Deftones, which came out in 2020, the latest album, there's a riff on the song Error, and it's literally just the Immigrant Song riff, but Stephen Carpenter plays it on a fucking like 9-string, so it's the same riff, it's just like in the same note, it's just super down tuned. And when I heard that, I was like, I wonder what it would sound like if I'm in COVID lockdown hearing this album, and I'm just like, I wonder what it would sound like if I recorded this, but I imitated Chino singing Immigrant Song over it. And so that was the first one that I did. And, it didn't get a lot of views or anything, but, I just kept doing more because it was fun. And, eventually people started to take note of them. So, that's kind of my whole thing with music, how it started, how it's, how it brought me to this point. It was certainly never a goal. Like I was never like, I want to be a musician YouTuber or anything like that. Like that was never the goal. It just kind of happened that way.
So many things that you just mentioned that I want to get into. So first of all, it's good to know. So you've been in original bands and you've been playing shows. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah, I was from like 2012 to 2019. I was in a bunch of bands doing all sorts of shit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
Not a bunch of bands. I was in 2 bands and we played a bunch of shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. For me, because I kind of wanted to get into this now. Briefly, going through, watching some of the feed that was shared with me from what you're doing. I haven't seen all of your videos, but the ones that I've seen were quite interesting. The way that you've gone about it, because it's like you in a recording studio. I'm assuming it's maybe at a home or at do you have a home studio, or do you have a recording?
It's just in my fucking bedroom.
Yeah. Okay. But nonetheless, it looks very professional.
Well,
it looks really cool, and it's
well,
like,
thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, of course. And it's like it gives the viewer, like myself, watching it. I'm like, okay, cool. This artist is being creative. He's showing us like where he's at, where as he's making it, like he's coming up with the ideas. He's like saying, hey, I think I should do this, and then he does it, and then you listen to it, and you're like, it's like a whole thing, and it's like it's probably one of the reasons why, like I said earlier, like you've been blowing up, and a lot of people have been sharing your things. A lot of people were super excited when I said that you were coming onto the live stream. They were like, oh, this is great, because you're doing something that's really cool, that's captivating people at the moment, and I think that's amazing. And I think the reason I asked about your playing shows is because COVID hit, and for me, I kind of did the same thing. I jumped on live streams, so I've been doing. Now, I didn't go on TikTok, unfortunately. Well, because I think you're right. TikTok is a better platform for live streams. Although a lot of people do still use TikTok. A lot of bands use it. I mean, sorry, Instagram.
Instagram,
and
yeah.
It's also a cool platform to do things on. So I for whatever reason, I started doing live streams on Instagram, and I guess because of my background, I used to do radio. I did like AM radio in the 90s. Then I worked on Bam Margera's Sirius satellite radio.
Right.
Then I had my own radio station for a while. So I kind of, my whole thing was I want to just go on, and they call me the godfather of guerrilla style live streaming. I would just go on, scroll through Instagram, and be like, oh, that person looks cool. Message them blindly, hope that they'll reply. Most likely they did. Like Lena Scissorhands. She's in a band called Infected Rain. That's
just fucking excellent, dude.
Yeah,
that's fucking sick. I had no idea.
To her. I was like, hey, do you want to do a live stream? And she was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, okay. And then there we go, live stream. And I've done that with all the artists. And
yeah,
I love
that's
talking
fantastic.
to
that's
artists.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's always great. Like I said, it's an educational for myself and for people watching, because it's always good to hear the real story, like what the artists really are doing, not what they're portraying themselves at on social medias, which tends to be a little bit, a little bit more spotlighty, if you will. Yeah. And so I wanted to talk to you about where you thought the music industry is, as far as like for artists like myself, like yourself, many people that are up and coming, many people that are beginning. When I say you used to play shows, that's a good point, because as I guess I consider myself in between legacy artists and new artists because of how old I am and where I fit in between the spectrum. Now, for example, I play with Andy McCoy, and he's much older than me. And I consider him to be part of the legacy era, where his perception of music industry growing up as a kid was be in a band, get signed to a record label, go on tour, make money, playing shows and selling merch. Now, fast forward to 2024, right? And it's a whole different ballgame. Of course it should be, right? Of course it should be. Not saying that it shouldn't. But it's interesting because I'm learning, just like everybody else, just like yourself, most likely, on what it is to do as a musician. Because at the end of the day, if you're a music artist, one of the goals is to become popular in some way, shape, or form, right? And the reason I say that is because if you're an artist and you have a message that you want other people to hear, obviously, if you want other people to hear it, you need them to hear it. So in order for them to hear it, you got to do something, right? Other than playing
Right.
music today, which it's the most important thing is the music. But then
Yeah.
above that, it's to get into what people are doing, which is live streaming from their bedrooms or going on TikTok. So in your opinion, like as a music artist today, what are some of the things that you're looking into or you think are relevant for somebody to start doing? Do you think it's important to get in the garage, play with your band, play shows, but or what other things can you do as a music artist to create a buzz with a message that you're trying to promote? If you get
Well,
what I'm saying.
no, I totally get what you're saying. I think everything that you just said is super important. I mean, like, coming from my experience, like I just told you, like, I was playing in bands, throughout high school, and we would play around Sacramento, and we did all the, playing all the clubs, selling tickets, doing that whole thing, and it was really important to have that experience to work with people and to work with venues and to work with clubs, and it was fun. Like, we weren't really making any money, we weren't really making much clout, like, people in the area kind of knew who we were, but in the grander scheme of things, like, it wasn't some big thing that was going to propel into some career.
Right.
But now I'm strictly online, and it's like it's all important, because I wish that during that time when I was in bands and working the clubs and doing that whole thing, I wish we would have taken online more seriously, because we didn't. Like, we just didn't really care. We didn't really know what to post, or the only thing that we would post is like, hey, we have a show and we have tickets, and then like 3 people would like it, like, that's what we did. And I just think that it's important to do all of that. Like, if you're a musician and you're trying to, get people watching and get people listening, online is really important, but it's like, do that, find some sort of way to make your band or yourself interesting online, and then also go play shows, go play out. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time and effort to get people to pay attention to you, other than just doing a post saying, hey, I got tickets, whatever. Like, it's doing all of that is extremely important. And I wish that when I was playing in bands, I was more savvy with like being online and knowing what my voice was on different platforms, and because I just didn't know. Like, now I kind of have an understanding of how that goes. But I think that to tie it back to what I was saying about like knowing my past, like, when I started doing online stuff, I had already played shows with like, I've opened for tons of bands. I've opened for like Puddle of Mud, Blackville Brides, fucking tons of bands. Played a bunch of shows with different bands, and it really gave me a foundation for what it means to be a musician and to be a working musician. And I think if you just, like, whether it's online or doing shows, like, follow what your gut is telling you to, like, what you enjoy and what you're passionate about doing. Because I was super passionate about playing shows, and I loved playing shows, and I still do. I miss playing shows. I do want to get a band together at some point and play more shows, but it's all super important. You have to do all of it. You have to play shows. You have to do social media. You can't do one or the other. It's not like, it's not, all of it is super important. And I think it just comes down to, like, if you love it enough, you'll do it. It's not a matter of like, I think if you're not going to do it, then you just don't really want to do it that much. Like, if you love it enough, you'll do it. That's
Well, I think
my perspective on that.
Okay, and I think you hit up a few good points. One of them being that you found your voice online. I find that very interesting quote of yours, because it's very true. Unlike finding your voice as a musician, which for me, in my situation, I basically I didn't find my voice until about 2017, 2018, which is crazy because I've always been in bands and I've been touring ever since the mid 90s, right? But that being in a band as a musician is a lot different than being an individual artist who found their voice, who has a message, who wants to propel that. And when you say finding your voice online, that's such a great analogy, because to me it means like you found your purpose online, which is this place where it's inevitable. We can't avoid being online unless you want, you know, like some of the very older legacy, like an Andy McCoy or like the Rolling Stones or something, they can almost get away with maybe not having such an online presence and having to work every day at trying to keep people interested. But
because they're fucking legends.
But today, if you are growing up in this world, in this music industry as we have it now, it very much is something where not only do you have to be online and entertain people on social media or the internet, whatever, but finding your voice and finding your message and finding your platform, your format on a particular platform. Which brings us back to what you've been doing. And, you know, again, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you come on was because a lot of people have been DMing me or sending me Instagram stories and things like that of what you've been doing. And obviously somewhere in the realm of the universe, you found your voice for the online. And it's really great. I mean, what you mentioned that you might want to take this to like doing live things eventually, which certainly we'll have to DM each other after this. I would love to talk to you about that. But what kind of direction do you feel you're headed with this, or are you on autopilot right now and you're just cruising and just seeing where it takes you? Like, what are your views for like the short-term future on what you're doing?
So, you know, I'm making enough headway with what I'm doing to turn it into an income, which is great. You know, I'm not rich or anything. I'm not fucking PewDiePie, but it's giving me the confidence to be like, okay, people are watching, people are paying attention, and you know, I'm probably gonna do what I normally do, like my videos and everything, for the unforeseeable future. But I do very much have a desire to get a band together, and you know, people have asked me like, do you tour? Like, are you playing around or anything? And you know, that's definitely something that I want to do. And my vision for that is to just kind of do maybe like some of the more popular covers I've done live with a band, and then, you know, the rest like original stuff that I do. I don't know exactly how that would formulate, but you know, kind of a mix of what I do on the internet, but just do it live. And you know, kind of just like, obviously, like my ultimate goal is to like make music, my music, and make that like what I'm known for. You know, like, not that I don't love what I'm doing, and I don't, you know, I really appreciate people watching the videos, and you know, it's great. Like it's awesome. But you know, like I've been writing music for a long time, and you know, my whole life basically, and you know, eventually that's what I want to do. Like, I want to tour and play with a band and make albums and, you know, do all that shit.
Same with me. Me too. I actually agree with you. And, no, and I think it's important because
been touring your whole fucking time, bro. Like, I've never been on a tour. Yeah, I'm very jealous, bro.
And guess what? I want to do it many more times still. Right.
Right.
But
exactly.
But that being said, right? That being said, you bring up a good point, because so now you're in a position, fortunately, where like a lot of people, including myself, like right now, I'm saving up for various things for my music career. Saving up. When I mean saving up, I'm saving up actual money to invest in myself, right?
Right.
Because we have to. Now,
Yeah. No.
how we do
Absolutely.
that, how we do that is different. Some people, they go out and they get 9 to 5 jobs. Some people sell cars. You know, they have a sports car. They're like, you know what? I don't need the sports car anymore. Uh, Margarita from the band. I forget the name of the band right now. Paradise something. Her and Dave sold their car to make a new album, to make their debut album. So
Yeah.
what I'm
That
saying is,
sometimes it
people,
takes that. Yeah, for
yes,
sure.
people need
That's, you know,
an income. So if you're
right.
fortunate enough to make an income in a cover band, playing live, or doing covers on social media and creating a following, it's all good. And as a matter of fact, I think because you're in the music industry making money, it puts you in a way better position because you're always playing. Your chops are, you're always playing. You know, it's not like you're going
Yeah, like it's
working in a factory
music.
all
Like
day and then
no,
coming
exactly.
home and
Like
being,
it's yeah, no, like totally. Like my you know, I want to like have make original songs and have that be what I do, but at the end of the day, like it's music. You know, like I'm making
yes,
money playing music, and that's like
yes,
so valuable. And
yes.
I try, every day I tell myself that, like, it's something that's really cool. I'm super grateful for.
Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
Edge of Edge of Paradise, Margarita from the band Edge of Paradise. Sorry, but
Edge
also
of Paradise.
one thing is you don't want to
Okay.
burn yourself. You don't want to burn yourself out too, because if you're making music, maybe sometimes you're doing something. I I'm not talking about you specifically, but if you're, for example, if you're making music in a cover band and you're playing all the top 100 hits all the time, and you're just like, oh, I can't stand this song. I play it every weekend. You could burn yourself
Right.
out musically, and then you could almost be to the point where you're like, I don't even want to play anymore. This is it. So you have to
Right.
find like a balance between what you're going to do and
Yeah.
what you want to do, your passions. And I fall into those same categories. And what's been able to keep me going is that my passion for music, specifically that I make or that my fellow musicians make with me, which is another thing. I love collaborating with other artists. To me,
Yes.
that's so important because at the end of the
It
day,
is. Yeah.
I could go into a studio and I could play the drums and I can play the bass and I can sing and I can do the keyboards and I can arrange it and I can write it and I can write, and maybe I'll do that like Bill Avallo did that recently on his album. It could be cool. You'll make a lot more money that way for sure, right? Because everything is yours. But there's something about collaborating with other artists and giving a piece of you to them, and
Right.
vice versa, them giving a piece of them to you, that could make a song or make an album or whatever it may be so much stronger and so much more vibrant with musical life. And I think collaborating with other artists musically and also, doing live streams and just talking is very important.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. That's, yeah, I just did a video with one of my buddies in Australia. We did a video, like he makes the same sort of content that I do, where it's like if blank band wrote whatever song, um, and we did that. And yeah, I mean, I love. I mean, the best music that's ever been released has been a collaborative effort. Like it's having people that you jive with as far as writing and having chemistry with somebody is so valuable. And like that's what I love about being in a band so much. I love that that communication musically, and that how you guys kind of play something together and everybody in the room is like, oh shit, that was cool. Like I love that feeling that it's awesome. It's great. It's very important. I totally agree.
Yeah, and it's a. I like to say sometimes, like, especially playing with Andy, like I feel like I'm helping preserve a dying art form, which is called rock and roll. And a lot of people today, what I mean, well, no, because what I mean by that is,
maybe you've heard of it. It's called
well, hey, it's
no,
true
I
because
got you.
because
Keep going.
the legacy artists that we all know and love, they came from a place like we talked about earlier, where this was before the internet, right? It was when
Yeah.
people literally did spend time in a room together, and they wrote songs together in a
Right.
garage,
Yeah.
and they drove their
Right.
parents crazy, and
Yeah.
it's very rare to find that dedication in that done that exact way. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be done that way, because obviously,
No. Yeah. Everyone
for
works in
example,
different
you
ways.
and I
Yeah.
could write a song together via Instagram Messenger. We could just talk through video. I'm
Yeah.
in Finland, you're in California, but we're still communicating live together, maybe not in the same room, but in the same box, right?
Right.
And that works too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just interesting on the different ways that people do things, because in my opinion, a lot of artists today are kind of taking to themselves, and they're not necessarily collaborating as much in that aspect, although they're online and they're talking to many people, but they're kind of confined to their bedrooms, and they're not really
Yeah.
looking to possibly do shows, which actually, for good reason. um it's like, it's freaking hard to go and play shows and come
Yeah.
home with some money where it was worth your time and your energy to
Right.
go out
No.
and
Yeah.
do it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I've been out of the show game for a couple of years now, but I mean, even when I was playing, super strong playing shows, a few times a month, like it was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine it's probably worse now. I mean, like there's venues that you know you hear about, and like you play them and it's like this great place, and now it's like, oh no, they're super corporate now it's like super, they don't give a fuck about the people playing, like it's just about the tickets and the yeah, like that sort of thing. I'm sure that's a huge thing now. I'm sure you've encountered that a lot being on tour for so many years.
Yeah, well, it's quite interesting, because I do a podcast with a woman by the name of Courtney Nord. She goes by Daughter of the Water. She's a fantastic music artist, and I've collaborated with her musically, and we do a podcast, and she's killing it right now doing like sync licensing things and stuff like that. But one of the things that we talk about is how it's very difficult to struggle as a musician that's going to go out and play shows, because you're right, like you have to get the shows, you have to get people to come out, you need to get people to buy your merchandise, but it is, I will say, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It is possible. And not only if you are part of a legacy act or you're an up and coming act, if you have a platform and there's people that are interested and there's promoters that are willing to buy on your gigs, it is possible. Yeah. It is possible to do it and come home. And because a lot of people have to understand, when you're online and somebody wants to PayPal me money for a tip or give me a gift on TikTok or buy a t-shirt online or at a show or pay for a concert ticket, all these things are kind of, as an artist, it's hard for me to, like, it's kind of cringy. It's like, am I asking for something, like, but at the same time, like, if this is our full-time career, like, this is our living, and it's not, we shouldn't have to feel, at least I do, I shouldn't have to feel like a little bit like hesitant or weird when somebody wants to donate something or buy a t-shirt from me. We really need to feel like happy and fulfilled, because at the end of the day, if you're an artist and you have a message that you're promoting, and you have to understand the person on the other end, that could touch them in a way where it changes their life. Like, they could be super motivated all of a sudden because of a beautiful song that you wrote, of an experience that they were actually going through themselves, and then they see, like, hey, I'm not the only one. This artist did that, and I think it's very important as us artists to continue to promote our messages. That's why I commend you so much for kicking ass and getting this buzz going that you've got going, because you're doing that to many people. I know a lot of people that are watching this right now, in the chats would feel the same way. And you know, I really appreciate that. I don't want to keep you too much longer. So
No, I mean, like, I'm not, you know, I'm having a great time. I'm not, I'm not in any rush. Like, you know, you're good.
well,
No, I mean, like, I really appreciate you saying that. And, you know, that is really important. Like, I do want to make, you know, a lot of people have hit me up about merch. I don't have any yet. That is something I want to do. But that is really important. And what you were saying about, you know, you never know when you're going to touch someone's life and you're going to make an impact. Like, I mean, you know, like when I met you in this past September at the fucking the LA show with 96, like that show was, you know, a huge deal to me. Like that I had a huge, that show had a huge impact on me personally. You know, it's, and that was like, you know, there's like 50 people there, and everyone there is like super stoked to hear the music and just see the band. Like, it's such a great environment, and you know, you never know like what's gonna happen from that. And now me and you are talking. You know,
well,
you know, it's cool. It's awesome. It's a great thing. It really is.
well, you know, I that's awesome to hear. Like I said, you know, maybe you saw me last year, and that's like year 25 of me touring, and I don't consider myself like even halfway through. You know, I say this. I bring up Andy again just because I talk to him all the time, and
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
he's almost 20 years older than me, right?
Right.
And I always tell him, I'm like, dude, stop your complaining, because your Rolling Stones buddies, who are much older than you, buddy, they're out there kicking ass. So I don't want to hear I don't want to hear
Right.
your shit. And he's like, no,
Yeah.
I guess you're right. So it's like, age is not a factor. And actually, what I realized when I moved to Finland, and I don't know why I realized this moving to Finland, but in Finland, there's a lot of festival gigs in the summertime, of course. Excuse me. And I realized that like most of the bands that are playing in these festival gigs are like in their 50s. Like, age isn't a factor in music. You know, you can be a young artist, you can be an old artist. The important part is you have the willingness, the drive, and the message to carry.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
that's basically what it is. So I'm
Absolutely.
really
No,
happy to hear you had a good time at the gig.
Oh, dude, I was fucking hammered. I had way too much to drink, but it was fun. I had a great time.
But
Fucking
that's
awesome, dude. I was stoked. I had a great time.
okay. Well, but that's the thing. I think that, you know, like I said, you and I, we can talk later. We can talk about things, but you know, collaborating with an artist, like it shouldn't be like this artist is so and so and this artist. Like, I think at the end of the day, every artist, uh, whether it goes from Mick Jagger to the local band in your town, we're
Right.
all, and I say this all the time, and I don't mean to be cheeky or whatever, but we're all artists, and we all are. There's no, it's music and art is not a mathematical equation, so there is no better artist
Yeah.
than another.
That's
Technically, it's not
why
true.
we like it. It's not math.
It's
Fuck
not
math.
math.
We hate math.
Like
We don't
my
like that.
mom,
We don't like that shit.
will say that I'm a better music artist than Mick Jagger, right? Although she likes Mick Jagger, but hey, but she will, and
Right.
that's just how it is. So there's no better or worse. We're all on the same playing field. So that's why because I'm a Libra, I tend to like to bring people together, and of course that's why I like to do these live streams.
Yes.
And I love, like,
Yeah.
again, collaboration is key for me. I mean, especially nowadays with I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Courtney told me about this, and I didn't even realize it. But it's like when you collaborate with another artist and you upload it onto, for example, if you upload it to Spotify, you can also upload a song that you maybe I write a song, Courtney Nord collaborates with me. I can post that song on my artist profile page, but I can also post that song on her artist profile page. And
Right.
when you collaborate with many different artists, the splits will be the same. So if she gets 1 million views and I get 1 view, I'll still get 1,000,001 views because the song is the song and the splits are the same. It's just that your collaboration helps you spread your song to so many more different artists' followings. So I think
Right.
collaboration today should be even more prevalent than people take for granted.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
very
and
important.
it's easier now. It's easier because you can just do it on fucking online. Like it's easy.
She's in
It's easy to
California.
collab with
She's in
somebody.
California. I sent her the track. I said, "Hey, can you do this?" And she
Right.
emailed me the track back, and there we go. Never
Right.
even
Which is
met her.
yeah.
I actually met her for the first time at the show that you were at.
Oh,
So
really? Okay. Cool.
yes.
Right
So
on.
it was, but like I feel
That's
like I've
dope.
known her for years because, like I said, with
Yeah.
her specifically, she was an up and coming artist, and I just randomly reached out to her and started doing live streams. Those turned into us doing a podcast together, which turned into us collaborating musically together, which all that time happened. And then I met her at the show that I met you at. And it was
Right.
just like, but I felt like I knew her for years because I did, just because I only see her on a screen.
Yeah.
It is different to see her in person and shake her hand or whatever, but it was awesome. And I love collaborations. And
yeah. Well,
so
that's
anyway,
a beautiful thing. I love that you do that. I really do. I think it's really cool that I've tuned into some of the ones that you've done. I think that's beautiful that you do that. You're someone that's been in the industry for so long, and you're, you see people that you respect or appreciate and want to talk to them and make it into a content live stream sort of format, and maybe give the people that follow you a shake at their stuff and vice versa. And I think that's beautiful. I think and that ties into what we were talking about before. Like it's music is it's not a competition. It's a collaborative thing. Like people that play music, it's like those are your people. Like that's who you want to associate with. That's who you want to talk to and make memories with. I think that's a beautiful thing. I really do, and I really appreciate all the stuff that you're doing.
I do want to say one thing, because you said music isn't a competition, and I totally agree. But I also agree that healthy competition, there's a difference between competition and healthy. My interpretation of healthy competition is like another artist does something that you're just like, oh my God, that's so fucking cool. Pardon my French.
Yeah. No.
And
Yeah.
you're like, in a way, you're like on the verge of like, you're not jealous, but you're just like, oh man, like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Or like, that's so cool.
Like you're kind of jealous. You are, but you're like, it makes me want to be like, I'm jealous, but I'm glad that you did that, but I want to do it better.
Yeah.
Kind of, it pushes you to be better.
It pushes you to be better. And I think without that, as a guitar player, when my first band, Ron Stango, who was the other guitar player, he had like the Les Paul, and he played like Slash, and he was like 14, 15 years old. And I had my little Washburn Lion, and I was like just starting off playing like C chords. And he was like the lead singer in the band. Ron, if you're watching this, he's probably laughing, but I was always like, oh my God, Ron is like, he's killing it. He's so much better. Like, we would do Knocking on Heaven's Door, and I would get to do the first solo, and then he used to get to do the Slash solo at the end, and I was always like, because he was so awesome. He was amazing. He still is. He's an amazing guitar player. But if it wasn't for Ron, I would have never wanted to strive to get better, because he always pushed me, and I'm so grateful for music artists that are way better than me, because it always pushes me. That's why I love people like Steve Vai or Jeff Beck or Van Halen, because they push me to want to be better.
No, of course. Yeah, and something that ties into that super well, that like a mentor of mine years ago told me, when it comes to music and being in a room full of musicians that you're working with, never be, and this can apply to many different things, but never be the most talented person in the room. Because if you are, then you're not going to, you're not going to learn anything.
There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, you're not going to learn anything. So like, that's totally valid and totally true. Like that's how you grow. That's how you develop as a player. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't even want to get into the AI aspect, but quickly.
Oh God! How long?
Well, it was interesting because one of the people,
look at my
one of the CEOs, or somebody from Spotify said this, and I was quite intrigued by this. He was saying He's like, well, what's the difference between an artist growing up saying, hey, my idol is Jimi Hendrix. I listen to him all the time and I try to play just like him all the time. He's such a big influence on my style. As opposed to an AI that's programmed to emulate an artist like Jimi Hendrix. That was his argument. He's like, well, what's the difference? So should we tell the real people, music artists, that their music shouldn't be allowed on Spotify because they're trying to play like Jimi Hendrix? And it's so interesting with what AI is doing today. It's hilarious, but at the same time, we could talk about it briefly, or we could talk about this for another stream, because I think it's something that's
a whole
here.
Other stream about this. It's the fucking AI stream.
It's here. It's not going anywhere, and it's really interesting what AI and music is creating, because a lot of people hate it, a lot of people love it, a lot of people are in between. I personally find myself against pretty much 80% of it, but then I also see some positive aspects of it. What are your thoughts on AI in general for music?
I feel like this issue in particular is kind of hot on my stuff, because I always get comments of people that are like,
good,
oh yeah, he's using AI, but like he's not, he doesn't hide it or anything. And I'm just like, what? When have I ever said that I use AI? But like, I like, obviously we're in a fucking free country. Like, I think, use AI. It's funny. Like, I've seen many AI covers that I think are hilarious, that I get a lot of like enjoyment out of. Like, I've seen a bunch of like SpongeBob rap stuff that I think is fucking hilarious.
Right.
Like it's fine, but it's like the only thing that, at least from like a vocalist standpoint, the only thing that AI can do is print all the other recordings that it has in its memory onto an already existing vocal performance. So it's like you'll see like I don't know, what's an example, like you'll see like a Jonathan Davis AI cover of a No
Frank
Doubt
Sinatra
song or something.
Yeah,
whatever. And it's like it's Jonathan Davis, like the sound of his voice, but the performance is Gwen Stefani. And they pronounce their words differently. They have different inflections in their voices. And from what I've seen, personally at least, like from what I've seen, AI still can't do that. So like if you have an AI cover of something, it's only going to be the original recording, but the AI digital, I don't know how it works 100%, of course, but it prints itself onto the actual recording. So a lot of what's in the original singer's voice is still there. So it's like, it's not at a point where it's indistinguishable, like it's not like I can tell, like, anyone that can, I feel like anyone that makes music or records music, like, can tell. And, and it's fine. Like, it's not a big deal, like when people tell me that my stuff, like, oh, it's AI, like I take it as a compliment, but at the same time, I'm like, no, it's not. It's me. Like, it's not AI.
Well, I think you make a good point, because I think it should be known. Like, if an artist decides to use AI in the writing aspect, I think it should be printed on somewhere that says that they are. So that way, there's full disclosure. I used AI to create these lyrics. Okay, I'm telling you.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, if music art is a form of entertainment, I can see how AI is not so bad. What I mean by AI is like all the tools that you can use, like splicing up videos. Like afterwards, I can splice this video up and come up with like 5-minute clips with like the words being spit out on key points that me and you talk about. Or I can go on Suri when it's available, I'm not sure if it is, and create 5-second video clips and put a whole bunch of those together and make an amazing music video out of like AI. Like, there's all these tools that I'm starting to feel are certainly possible to be helpful for a music artist, where I come and this is now, and I'm happy to pivot in a few years and change my stance on this, but I feel, for me, I don't want AI to write my own lyrics. I think for me, that's my sacred place. I want to write my own lyrics.
Yeah.
I could change in 5 years, and I certainly will admit it that I said this today, but still, I think there's certain things that I don't want AI to do because I feel like the human part of it still is important, but there's also a lot of things that I think are helpful with AI.
I think that AI is like, you know, like I don't reject it entirely as a technology. Like, just to me, it's like, if AI is doing all the work, then it's not really like art anymore, because like AI can't create anything. All it can do is just pull from, you know, millions of things that already exist, and it compiles it together. So it's like, I don't reject it entirely. It's just like, if AI is doing all the work, then it's not really art anymore. Because I mean, and it kind of goes back to, you know, like, and you know, like AI artwork, you know, like it all has that look, you know.
It does.
Like, if you look at AI artwork, like when it first was a thing, I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. Yeah. And then everybody started doing it, and I was like, okay, like I can tell that's AI.
You can tell. Yeah.
Like you can tell. And I feel like there is a point with music where that's also the case. It's just
for
like,
sure,
if you're using it to make things easier for yourself, to present yourself, to present your, you know, your musical, your musical voice. Like, if you're making it easier to present that as the focus, like, yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, obviously, whatever people use it with, I don't care. Like, do what you want to do. But
of course,
it's just like,
if
like when you use AI as the main force of what you're doing, like, we can tell, you know, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, for an example, like if I were to write a new song and say, here it is, and post it, and never tell anybody that AI wrote the lyrics, and always considered to never tell people that. At the end of the day, you're lying to yourself, and it's not
you're lying
really
to yourself, and it's like, what are you really doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
But we don't know how the landscape's going to change in the next 5 years, and maybe people will only be using AI in the future. Who knows? But for now,
who knows?
2024,
yeah, totally.
It is what it is. I think that this has been a fabulous, fantastic live stream. I think we should do it again. We will definitely talk about it.
I would love to.
Yeah, and so much more. I'm definitely looking forward to talking to you off chat about some things too. But if there's anything that you want to end this live stream to people that are watching this, most people are not watching this live, they're watching this after the fact. So for all those people that might be watching this, you know, weeks from now or months from now, what do you want to end the stream with? Like, what do you have, other than the fact that you're going to go back and do more live streaming on your channel?
Yeah.
What do we have to look forward to, you know, in the upcoming future with you?
I mean, you know, for me, like, you know, I'm gonna keep making my normal stuff that I always do. I have some collabs planned with Anthony Vincent. I got some stuff planned with Munich Productions, which, you know, those guys make the same sort of content that I do.
Right.
That'll be cool. And you know, I do have a question for you, actually.
Okay.
Has Darren Miller ever said anything to you about my CKY stuff that I've done? Has he ever told you, like, what he thinks about it or anything?
I don't know if he's seen it or not. Maybe we could ask him on us Monday, because I know that. So, for example, Thomas.
I'm sorry. I'm totally putting you on the spot right now. I'm just curious.
Hey, we're live.
I'm just
what
curious.
You're supposed to do.
You know,
no.
Like,
as a matter of fact, it's interesting because Thomas, our drummer, he was the one that forwarded me the song, and then from there, I kind of dove into some of the other stuff you were doing, and that's when I decided I was like, hey, I should contact this guy. So I don't know if you forwarded to
I know
Darren
he's
or
a
not.
very quiet guy with a lot of stuff, but I was just curious.
Yeah. No, I
It's all
mean,
good.
now that you say it, I think that we should find out, because I would like to also hear what he thinks on your take of it. I certainly thought it was super cool, obviously, so
Well, thanks.
there's
Thank
my
you.
answer. So
Well, thank you, bro. Thank you
yeah,
very
yeah, no
much.
worries, no worries. But hey, I think this went really well. I'm really happy to
Yeah,
have had the
I
moment
had a
to
blast,
chat with
dude.
you,
I
and
had
I'm
a
looking
great time.
forward to the future and to see what happens. So with that being said, let's end the stream here. And what I normally like to say at the end of every stream, I will see you on the next stream. Rock and roll. Bye bye.
Fuck yeah. Goodbye.